94 countries entered, 32 survived, and for the next 6 weeks, 3.5 billion people, nearly half the planet, will stop whatever they're doing to watch 22 people kick a ball around a grass rectangle. Half the planet. To put that in perspective, the Super Bowl gets about 115 million viewers. The World Cup final gets 1.5 billion. That's not a typo. Now here's the question. Nobody's asking out loud, but everyone's thinking, why has it taken Americans so long to show up to this party? And more importantly, why is 2026 the year everything finally changes? Because here's what I can tell you. After going deep on this, the Americans who are still ignoring soccer aren't ignoring it because they don't like it. They're ignoring it because nobody ever explained it to them correctly. And that's exactly what this channel is gonna fix. My name doesn't matter. What matters is that by the end of this video, you're going to understand why soccer is the most psychologically compelling sport ever invented, and why the 2026 World Cup, happening right here on American soil, might be the single most important sporting event of your lifetime. Stay with me. Let's start with something that will reframe everything. Most people think soccer is boring because nothing happens. Low scores, ties, guys flopping on the ground, 90 minutes of running with maybe one goal at the end. And look, if that's been your experience watching soccer, I get it. That's a completely fair take if you've only caught highlights or watched a random game with no context. But here's what's actually happening when you watch soccer and feel like nothing is happening. You're watching 22 athletes execute something closer to chess at full sprint than anything else in professional sports. Every position on the field has a specific role. Every movement off the ball, meaning every player who doesn't have the ball, is either creating space, closing space, or setting a trap for the other team. And this is all happening simultaneously, constantly, for 90 minutes with no timeouts, no commercials, no huddles. When a team just passes it around, what they're actually doing is forcing the other team to run, to chase, until someone breaks formation and a gap opens up. And the moment that gap opens, that's the goal. That's the explosion. That's why the crowd loses its mind in a way that doesn't happen in any other sport. Because the buildup is real. Because you can feel it coming. Here's the stat that changes how people watch soccer forever. In the average NFL game, the ball is actually in play, meaning actively being thrown, run, or kicked for about 11 minutes out of 60. In a soccer match, the ball is in play for 55 to 60 minutes out of 90. You've been watching the wrong sport if you're looking for action. Now let's talk about why this particular World Cup is a genuine cultural turning point for America. The 2026 FIFA World Cup is being hosted across 16 cities in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. That's never happened before. A World Cup has never been spread across 3 countries simultaneously. And the US is hosting 11 of those 16 cities, including the final: New York, Los Angeles, Dallas, San Francisco, Miami, Seattle, Boston, Kansas City, Philadelphia. To Atlanta, Houston. This isn't soccer coming to America. This is America being handed the keys to the biggest sporting event on the planet and being told, your move. And here's the part that makes this different from every previous attempt to sell Americans on soccer. The tournament has expanded for 2026 for the first time ever. 48 teams are competing instead of 32. That means more matches, more countries, more storylines, and critically, more games being played in American stadiums. In American time zones, where American fans can actually be there. The last time the US hosted a World Cup was 1994. And even then, even with zero soccer culture in this country, it broke attendance records. 3.5 million people showed up. That was before social media, before YouTube, before you could pull out your phone and in 45 seconds find out everything you needed to know about why Messi just did what he did. The infrastructure for Americans to fall in love with soccer has never been better than right now. And there's one more thing. The US men's national team is actually good now. I know. Give me a second. For most of American soccer history, the US team was the team other countries were hoping to draw in the group stage because it meant an easy win. But the generation of players coming through right now, many of them playing for top clubs in Europe, represents the most talented group of American soccer players in history. Christian Pulisic plays for AC Milan, one of the most famous clubs on the planet. He's 25 years old. Weston McKennie, Gio Reyna, Folarin Balogun. These aren't players who... Here's where it gets genuinely interesting. And this is the part most soccer coverage completely skips. America has been in a complicated relationship with soccer for over 100 years. And buried inside that history are some facts so wild that even lifelong soccer fans don't know them. Fact number 1. The United States finished third at the very first World Cup ever played. 1930, Uruguay. The tournament was so new that there were no qualifying matches. FIFA just sent invitations and hoped countries would show up. Most European nations refused to travel to South America. The US accepted, and they went on a run. They beat Belgium 3-0. They beat Paraguay 3-0. They made it to the semifinals before losing to Argentina. Third place in the inaugural World Cup, then almost nothing for the next 60 years. Fact number 2. In 1950, the United States beat England 1-0 in what many historians call the greatest upset in World Cup history. England was one of the favorites. They had invented the modern game. They were finally entering the World Cup for the first time after years of refusing to participate because, and this is real, they thought international competition was beneath them. The US team was a group of semi-professionals. A mailman, a dishwasher, a guy who had learned soccer from Haitian immigrants in New York. The goal that won the match was scored by a man named Joe Gaetjens, who headed the ball into the net in the 37th minute. When the result was wired back to newspapers in England, editors assumed it was a mistake. Several papers printed the score as 10-1, assuming the US must have lost by 9 goals. Because winning was simply impossible. They won. 1-0. One of the biggest upsets in the history of the sport. America just sort of forgot about it. Fact number 3. And this one genuinely shocked me when I found it. Soccer was actually more popular than baseball in some American cities in the early 1900s. Cities with large immigrant populations, St. Louis, New York, Chicago, had thriving professional soccer leagues. Before World War I, Fall River, Massachusetts had a team called the Marksmen, who were legitimate world-class players. The sport didn't fail in America because Americans didn't like it. It faded because of a combination of factors: the rise of American football, league mismanagement, and the fact that the 2 world wars essentially cut off the immigrant communities that had been its backbone. Soccer in America isn't a new idea waiting to happen. It's an old idea that got interrupted. And 2026 is where it comes back. Now, let's talk about something more recent. Because if you're still skeptical, I want to show you what the data actually says. MLS, Major League Soccer, the top professional league in the US, has gone from being a punchline to being legitimately competitive in a single decade. In 2007, David Beckham joined the LA Galaxy and everyone called it a retirement tour. A superstar coming to collect a paycheck before hanging up his boots. But something unexpected happened. Kids started showing up to games. Kids who'd grown up playing youth soccer, and there are more of those in America than you think, by the way, suddenly had a reason to care about professional soccer in their own country. Fast forward to 2023. Lionel Messi, widely considered the greatest player in the history of the sport, chose to come to Inter Miami instead of continuing in Europe or going to Saudi Arabia where he was offered more money. He chose America. The night Messi debuted for Inter Miami, the Apple TV app crashed because so many people tried to watch simultaneously. A soccer game crashed a $1 trillion company's streaming platform. That's not a sport that Americans don't care about. That's a sport that Americans have been waiting to care about with the right permission. And here's the youth number that tells you everything about where this is going. More American children play youth soccer than any other team sport in the country. More than football. More than basketball. More than baseball. They've been playing it their whole lives. And now, for the first time, the World Cup is in their backyard. The parents who drove those kids to practice every Saturday morning for a decade, they're going to watch this tournament differently than any World Cup that came before it. Because this one is theirs. All right, you're sold, or at least curious. So let me give you the actual cheat code for watching the 2026 World Cup as someone who's new to the sport. Because the number one mistake new fans make is watching soccer the same way they watch American sports. Waiting for the scoring moment, the touchdown, the home run. Soccer is not built around its scoring moments. It's built around momentum.
Space.
Here's what to watch
This finding
instead.
emphasizes
Number
that
one,
the opportunities
watch the
available
space,
to a player
not the
are
ball.
not all present
When the
at the
team
same
with the ball
time.
passes
And
it
as a player
sideways
performs
or
an action
backward,
on the
they're
ball,
not
their
being
teammates
boring.
and opponents
They're
move in
waiting for
response,
space to
which in
open up
turn
on the other
creates
side of
new
the field.
information.
When you
The
see
most
a player
important.
make a run, sprinting hard into empty space with no ball near them, that's the play. Watch where they're going, not where the ball is. Number 2, watch for the press. When a team presses, meaning they sprint forward aggressively to win the ball back high up the field, it creates the most exciting, dangerous moments in soccer. If you see a team suddenly swarm the player with the ball near the opponent's goal, something is about to happen. Number 3. Set pieces are basically free points if you know what you're doing. Corner kicks and free kicks near the goal account for roughly 30% of all goals in international soccer. When a team gets a corner kick, the other team isn't just defending randomly. They're executing a rehearsed system, man marking, zonal marking, or a combination, against a rehearsed attack. Watch the movement before the kick. That's where the goal is being won or lost. Number 4. Understand the stakes of extra time. In the knockout rounds and starting from the round of 16, if the match is tied after 90 minutes, you get 30 more minutes of extra time. If it's still tied after that, you get a penalty shootout. 5 players from each team take turns shooting one-on-one against the goalkeeper from 12 yards out. Penalty shootouts have ended the dreams of more nations, more legendary players, and more coaches than any other moment in sports. Iconic names, iconic heartbreaks. If a match goes to penalties in this World Cup, you are watching something that people will talk about for decades. Here's the truth about why Americans are finally watching soccer in 2026. It's not because FIFA marketed it well. It's not because Messi is still playing. It's not even because the games are in American cities. It's because this generation of American fans grew up playing this game. They understand it in their bodies, even if they've never watched it seriously. And when they sit down to watch the World Cup this summer, in a bar, on a couch, in a stadium, something is going to click. And that click is what this channel's here for. Every week for the next 6 weeks, 11 Yards is going to give you everything you need to watch this tournament like you've been following soccer your entire life. The history, the tactics, the players, the moments that matter. And the story so strange and so incredible that you'll wonder why nobody told you about them sooner. Subscribe now so you don't miss a single video, because the group stage is already underway and we've got a lot of ground to cover. And if you want a head start right now, the link in the description has a free cheat sheet with everything a new fan needs to know before every single match. It's called the 11 Yards World Cup Cheat Sheet. It's free, grab it. We'll see you in the next video.